Let's make some chocolate babka, my specialty. Look how beautiful these loaves came out. I'm Paula Shoyer, the kosher baker, and I love baking and teaching other people how to make delicious kosher and parve desserts. About 1/3 cup of warm water, I added a teaspoon of sugar, and now I'm gonna go ahead and add kind of 2 scoops of yeast. Tip, always do your yeast in a separate measuring cup versus the bowl, because this way the yeast will kind of grow quicker in a smaller environment. While your yeast is proofing, you can go ahead and get the other ingredients into your bowl. 1/3 cup of sugar, 6 tablespoons of margarine, or you could use butter or any fat substitute you like. I'm gonna add about 1/4 cup of oil, 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla, because vanilla makes everything better. Gonna get our eggs. It's gonna be 2 large eggs, no other size for baking. Large, large, large. I hope you know that already. I always break them one at a time to make sure there's no blood spots because I'm kosher, and also to make sure that there's no shells before I add it to my recipe. I'm going to add 3 cups of all-purpose flour, and I always add an extra tablespoon for good measure. 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Once the yeast is nice and thick, we're going to go ahead and add it to our bowl and mix all of this together. Out on slow, have a spatula around to scrape down the bowl, and once the ingredients come together, we're going to knead it for about 2 more minutes. So make sure you scrape up from the bottom, because no matter how good your mixer is, like the attachment just never hit the bottom. At some point we might have to use our hands. We'll see. The part where I go in with my hand and I do some squishing. Squishing is a very sophisticated baking technique I learned in cooking school in Paris. And that's how we get the dough to come together. My dough that is completely done. It's come together. If you touch the dough and you still have pieces of dough on your hand, add a little more flour. And if you touch it and it's really crumbly, just grease your hands with oil and squeeze it in. Now I'm gonna let this rise for about 1.5 hours. Let's make our chocolate filling. I have melted chocolate, really good quality chocolate. I'm gonna add dark cocoa, love Hershey's dark cocoa, sugar, and oil. And I'm gonna mix this all together. I'm gonna sprinkle just a little bit of flour on a large piece of parchment. And this is my trick to rolling anything into a rectangle. I put it on my parchment and I roll it into an oval first, kind of just up and down. And then I lift it up and I turn it, so then now it'll be easy to roll into a rectangle. Okay, time for the chocolate filling. I always kind of like to put it on an X, so that way I can kind of spread it and get even amounts all over. You can do about 1/2 cup of filling, and take your handy spatula and we're gonna spread it all over. And there's no such thing as too much chocolate, so I'm gonna sprinkle chocolate chips all over. You can use mini or regular size. Pull this baby up into a long log. Use the parchment paper to help you too. Wrap this up and stick in the freezer for just like 3 or 4 minutes while I shape the other roll. Now unroll your log, make sure the seam is on the bottom, and take a flat blade knife and you're gonna cut the whole thing in half. A long way. And then you're going to show the inside facing up and create an X like this. And hopefully your pieces will hold together. And you're literally just going to twist them around each other. And kind of squish them to the middle like an accordion. But make sure that the top is facing up so that you can put it right into your pan. So take a look at this, and now it's going in my pan. Last thing, glaze it with egg wash and bake it for 30 minutes at 350. This gorgeous loaf of babka. Let's cut inside and see what it looks like. This is like the best part. Oh yeah, check this out. See, it's got like nice little swirls of chocolate goo.